What's up guys, Josh Hublitz here. If you're new to the channel, former Division I tennis player turned ATP and WTA practice partner, I'm doing a series called Practice Partner Chronicles, where I break down the almost 40 hits I had this year at Indian Wells with the ATP and WTA tour, breaking down what each hit was like, fun stories in between. Shamelessly, like and subscribe. Today, we're going over one of my favorite hits, Felix Auger-Aliassime, AKA FAA. Let's get into it. Felix was one of my most intense hits for a couple of reasons. Let's start out with Felix himself. He is a professional's professional. He has this reputation on tour for being uber professional in everything that he does. He carries himself with a level of stoicism, just this almost Djokovic-esque dedication to everything that he is doing. And let me tell you firsthand, it is very real. It's almost tangible. You can feel it radiating off of him, just how dialed in he is. So I got to the court, dapped him up, super friendly. He actually says, "Hey, it's nice to see you." And I did meet him a few years ago when I was doing a hitting partner gig at City Open, and we actually had a lunch together. So my first thought was like, did he remember me? So I was like, yeah, it's nice to see you again. I said something, but I don't expect him to remember me. He approached me like he knew me, smiling. His team was very welcoming. His coach, I think he may have been French, very nice. But I could tell shortly after, within 20 seconds, it was all about business. We hit the court, no warm up, no nothing, right back to the baseline, and we start banging balls immediately. One thing to keep in mind is I had just gotten from LA, drove 2 hours, sprinted to the practice desk. They assigned me Felix. Like, I was not warm at all. I was a little bit shook. I was like, oh God, here we go, getting thrown to the lion's den. So very much a sink or swim type feeling. We start practicing and he's all business with his training. I mean, he was stoic. He was in the zone. I've talked about this in my other videos. The best guys on tour tend to have this in their practices. So intentional with every single ball. So he was not missing. He was dialed in. And you see this with Felix in his matches too. He's even mindful with like his walk. Everything that he's doing is very purposeful. And of course, he's got some of the cleanest strokes on tour. And so he gets me into an insane rhythm from the get-go. Even though I wasn't warmed up and I just hopped out the car, it was like the perfect person to practice with in terms of finding a rhythm, because the ball's just so clean off both ends. That said, he ramped it up very fast to a super high pace. I talked about this in my other video, how most pros will go at a perfect ramp in their warm-up and they will go each ball a little bit more. And so you really have to hold on and not miss so that you can stay there with them and also ramp up, because as soon as you miss, you feed in another ball, they're cracking it at you right where they left off. He ramped up at a very fast pace. And before I knew it, we were a couple minutes in and he was going full rip city. Felix's ball is very penetrating. He doesn't do anything crazy out of the ordinary. The depth was very impressive. 90% of his balls were landing within a couple feet of the baseline. He was able to deliver the same clean, high-paced ground stroke over and over and over. His body control and the ability to sort of not expend too much energy while still unleashing on the ball was really impressive and very different. When I think about hitting as hard as I can, it's putting my whole body into it and making a violent motion. He was like stoic, balanced, and just torching the ball, but it seemed really effortless. That's a top 10 guy right there. Not a lot of players you see walking around have that ability. He had that sort of split personality where the guy that I dapped up and met in the beginning was not the same dude that I was, banging balls with.
What? What did he say?
At the baseline, 100 miles an hour on his end. It was an intensity and almost a nervous feeling at first. It definitely took me a second to settle in because I could feel his expectation for super high quality practices. He clearly trains at an insane caliber. Now, this was very much one of those sink or swim moments. We did something that I haven't done with any of the other pros. He wanted to work primarily on a drill where he was camped out in either the deuce or the ad side, and I was the one that was going cross line. So he was moving me. So he wanted to work on change of direction from a standstill, and I'm the one that's getting run side to side. We did this for 25 minutes. I was absolutely cooked. Just let's break this down for a second. Not only am I doing a movement drill, I'm the one that's getting run. I'm doing it against Felix Auger-Aliassime's ball, and I have the expectation on me that I have to make every ball and give him like enough reps. So there's a lot going on here. That's a tough drill if you're doing it with somebody at your own level. You're getting worked, but I'm getting worked by Felix. His coach turns to me and he goes, "We're gonna get you some cardio today." All right, like what you got in mind? And then they tell me what we're doing and I'm just like, okay, let's go. Not a lot of thinking, very much I entered a survival mode of like see ball, hit ball. It got very simple though and very clear, and I actually played maybe the best tennis of my life. And you'll see in some of these sequences, way better than I thought. It was great. It turned out to be a fantastic practice. I got my ass kicked for 30 minutes by Felix, but it was such a cool experience. I will not forget that. It was also under the lights at night in Indian Wells. It doesn't get any better than that. I did a ton of serves. I caught him a couple times on some good kicks, and he was like, "Great serve, too good." It's always nice if you like catch a pro on a good serve and you get them. I can't remember if I did with Felix, but generally with most of the practices against the men, you'll see the practice partner step in maybe 2 feet inside the baseline so that they can deliver a faster serve. The first instinct is like my serve's not big enough. And then you step back and you realize, okay, these guys are used to seeing Zverev serve, so they obviously need somebody to simulate that. It's not a knock on like your service ability. I have a good serve, but I'm not gonna serve as hard as Zverev. Just kind of have to own it, take it on the chin, step a few feet inside, start banging it. They appreciate it. Put your pride away. I don't really know if this needs speaking on, but Felix's frame in person is so much bigger than I thought. He's obviously a big guy, but he is massive. These guys, sometimes they look skinny, right? Like Sinner and stuff. I have muscle, okay? I work out, I have muscle. These guys are bigger than me. In person, they are so much bigger than they look on TV, but his frame is like massive, like wide, like swimmer shoulders. It's insane. And when I train with them, I realize there's an aspect of genetics here that absolutely comes into play with making it on tour. Almost every single person had something uniquely, for lack of a better word, freakish about them. Huge frames, huge quads. You don't really see someone who's just overall fit and, you know, pretty good with, like, there's something about their body. And Felix just had this massive frame. Guy's a beast. So that's how I got my ass kicked by Felix for 30 minutes. If you guys are enjoying these videos, like and subscribe. We still have so many hits to go over. Just to name a few: Francis, Darderi, Rinderknecht, one of the cousins, Kovacevic, Ostapenko, Jennifer Brady. I see all your comments, and please keep commenting if you have any questions. I will try to answer every single comment. See you next time.